The first blow, cruelty in the open. The galaxy's trading hub on Vera 9 had always been neutral ground. Species gathered beneath its crystalline domes, conducting commerce and diplomacy with the certainty that no blood would be spilled there. But neutrality meant nothing to the Gorak Dominion. When their warbands stormed the market plaza, their intent was not conquest but humiliation. At the center stood a human merchant, unarmed, ordinary, known to locals for laughter and shared meals. The Gorak commander, a towering warrior with a jagged blade, seized him by the throat and hurled him against a wall. His only crime: he had once refused to sell underpriced minerals to the Dominion. The warrior laughed, booming and cruel. "This is your friend," he bellowed to the crowd, pointing at the broken human gasping on the floor. "This fragile creature, this thin-blooded ape." The plaza watched in silence, horrified. The humans' companions, traders from smaller worlds, allies who had trusted Earth's quiet strength, stood frozen. The warrior leaned closer, spitting venomous words. "Earth is a myth. Humanity is weak. Let the galaxy see how easily I end a human's life." He pressed his blade to the man's chest, and before anyone could intervene, drove it home. The market screamed, but the warrior only sneered. "Tell your people," he roared, "their friends are nothing, their kind is nothing." And with that act the galaxy shifted. The human died on alien soil, mocked and broken. The warrior believed it was finished. But it was only the beginning. Arrogance echoes across the stars. The Gorak Dominion broadcast the footage. It was not enough to kill. They wanted the galaxy to see. Every screen across the trade routes replayed the human's last breath, the commander's jeers, the crowd's silence. Commentators laughed. Rivals of Earth smirked. "Where is humanity's answer?" they whispered. "Where are their vaunted soldiers, their fleets?" For years, Earth had been cautious, measured, restrained. They sent envoys instead of armies, merchants instead of conquerors. Their patience was mistaken for frailty, their silence for submission. In Dominion halls, nobles raised goblets and toasted the commander. "One human dead, 1,000 humiliated," they said. They believed it a message carved in blood, that humanity would bow. They did not know the truth, that humanity remembers its friends, its fallen, and does not forgive. The silence before the storm. When the footage reached Earth, there were no public speeches, no calls for negotiation, no trembling appeals to the galactic courts. There was only silence. In underground command bunkers, admirals gathered around darkened screens. Their voices were hushed, clipped, final. It's time. On the moon's hidden shipyards, titanic hulls stirred as ancient engines ignited for the first time. On Mars, soldiers were recalled from distant patrols and given a single directive: avenge the fallen. Across the system, signals flickered through encrypted channels. Fleets that had waited in shadows for generations lifted from hidden docks. Their names whispered like curses: Leviathan, Juggernaut, Retribution. Galactic chatter hummed with nervous speculation, but Earth gave no warning. No declaration of war. No press release. Only the cold gathering of force, invisible until too late. The silence was not weakness. It was the breath before the scream. The breaking of the sky. The first sign came at the Dominion's border world, Vorthis. A garrison planet, heavily fortified, believed untouchable. At dawn, its skies darkened, not with clouds but with ships. Human dreadnoughts descended like mountains torn from the void. They blotted out suns, their hulls etched with scars of old wars long buried. The Gorak defenders laughed at first. A show of force, they thought, a bluff. They launched interceptors. The interceptors vanished in fire. Then came the bombardment. Not wild, not vengeful, but surgical, deliberate. Orbital defenses shattered in seconds. Command bunkers imploded. Entire continents screamed as precision strikes erased every military installation. Civilians were spared, but every warrior, every fortress, every emblem of Dominion pride was ground to ash. The galaxy watched, wide-eyed, as the first human retaliation fell. "This cannot be Earth," they whispered. "These are weapons from another age, another power." But it was Earth, and Earth was only beginning. The avalanche unleashed. The Dominion rallied. Their fleets, vast armadas of steel and fire, massed in the Trisar expanse. Thousands of warships, banners raised, weapons hot. They believed sheer numbers would overwhelm humanity's answer. The humans came anyway. From the void, hyperspace ruptured. Human fleets poured forth like a tidal wave, eclipsing the stars. Formations precise as blades, silence on comms broken only by one chilling broadcast, repeated across all frequencies. "For our friends, for the fallen, we are coming." The battle was not a clash, it was an execution. Human carriers released drone swarms like living storms, devouring interceptors by the hundreds. Rail cannons fired slugs at near-relativistic speeds, tearing battleships apart in single strikes. Marine drop pods rained onto enemy flagships, and where the pods landed, no Gorak survived. In hours, the Dominion's grand fleet, centuries of conquest embodied, was reduced to wreckage drifting silent in space. Survivors sent desperate pleas for reinforcements. None came. The avalanche had already swept past them, rolling unstoppable toward the Dominion's heart. The shattering of the galaxy. It was not conquest. Humanity did not want territory. It was vengeance, pure, focused, unrelenting. Every Dominion stronghold was hunted. Every garrison world silenced. Fleets that had once patrolled with arrogance were torn apart with surgical brutality. World after world fell, not to occupation, but to annihilation of military might. Civilians were spared, but left trembling. Their governments collapsed not from invasion, but from the sheer terror of what humanity had unleashed. And then came the capital. The Gorak homeworld, once believed the jewel of the galaxy, woke to a nightmare. Human dreadnoughts filled the skies, casting shadows over oceans and continents. Armies landed in silence, black-armored, faceless, merciless. The same commander who had mocked the human on Vera 9 knelt in chains before them. His blade was snapped, his laughter gone. His final sight was not of victory, but of human eyes, cold, unyielding, infinite in their memory of what he had done. And when his end came, it was not broadcast in arrogance. It was not celebrated. It was simply finished. The galaxy shattered that day, not in fire, but in certainty. The certainty that humanity could never again be mocked, never again be underestimated. The silence after. When it was over, Earth withdrew. Their fleets, having burned across the stars like a storm of vengeance, vanished back into silence. They did not claim the Dominion's throne. They did not carve empires. They simply left the wreckage behind. Across the galaxy, survivors whispered to each other in shadowed halls and broken markets. They spoke of fleets blotting out suns, of precision annihilation, of the terrible patience of humankind. Children were hushed when they laughed at humans. Merchants refused to cheat them. Even the boldest warlords measured their words carefully when Earth was mentioned. The phrase spread from world to world, spoken with dread and awe alike. Never provoke Earth again. For the galaxy had learned its most terrible lesson. Humanity's patience is vast, but their vengeance is infinite.